Good evening, everyone. So, we are honored to be joined today with Dr. Charan Singh, renowned economist, thought leader, and former non executive chairman of Punjab and Sindh Bank. With decades of experience at institutions like the Reserve Bank of India and the International Monetary Fund, Dr. Singh is deeply rooted in India's spiritual and cultural traditions. His works often explores the intersections of economics, ethics, and inclusive growth, inspired by the teachings of gurus and bhagats. So, we're here with Charan Singh sir, and I just have a few questions to ask with you, sir.
Sure. Thank you for having me. Please tell me.
So, yeah, uh, I just have a question that how are gurus and bhagats that struggled for the lowest among the lowest in the society, in India particularly?
That's a very good question. Actually, the whole of Sikh history of the time of the Sikh gurus has been tackling this issue. When Guru Nanak Dev Ji was born, the country had lots of problems in terms of discrimination on the basis of caste system. I'm talking of 1469, 1470, those times. When Guru Nanak Dev Ji started his travels, he started saying that we are all coming from the same single source, one God. Nobody is inferior and nobody is superior. Rather, at places, Guru Nanak Dev Ji would say that Nicha andar neech jaat, Nichi huat neech, and Nanak tinke sang saath vadya so carries. That means I am here with the downtrodden and I am here with everyone who is not very high up in the hierarchy of the caste system. This journey of Guru Nanak Dev Ji translated into a wonderful episode of Langar. Langar is the tradition which Guru Nanak Dev Ji started, and though initially it started with the historical episode of 20 rupees his father giving and saying go and do some good trade out of it, Guru Nanak Dev Ji fed the hermits. But later on, when he settled down after his long journeys, he started the tradition of langar in a bigger way. It was a community kitchen. Who comes and cooks? Who comes and eats? Who comes and serves? Who comes and cleans the utensils? No questions were asked. This was a great leveler. In those days, the rich and the high caste would never sit and eat food with the poor and the low caste. But in Guru Nanak's langar, no questions were asked. So much so, when Guru Angad Dev Ji became the Guru, langar continued. But there was lots of opposition from different people who said this langar is a great trouble spot. Why do you all eat together? And how come you don't discriminate between different castes? How can a high caste, how can a rich man sit with a low caste and a poor man to have langar? There are historical facts that when Guru Amar Das Ji was there, and there used to be big fights that stopped the langar. Guru Ram Das Ji many times used to go and talk to those people and say, why do you oppose langar? When the opposition was massive, there were people who said we will not conduct the marriages of the Sikhs because we do not know where Sikhs belong.
Yeah.
And therefore the Sikhs had to write their own composition for the marriage. Then the issue came, okay, if you have found a way out, we will not do the last rites. And then the Sikhs came out with different hymn that used to be read during the last rites. Then they said, okay, if you want to have langar, we control the water supply, we will not allow you water from our well. Then the third Guru constructed a bauli, where he opened the bauli. It's a step well, deep well, where anybody could come and collect water. So the opposition of the Sikh gurus to this caste system and discriminating between the rich and the poor and the high caste and the low caste started from Guru Nanak Dev Ji itself. It's very amazing. When Guru Arjan Dev Ji was sacrificed,
Exactly.
Guru Har Gobind Ji established an army. In this army, all sort of people, it was called the Akal Sena. In the Akal Sena, all sort of people recruited. Many of those people were low caste.
Yeah.
And when they started fighting battles and they started practicing with horses and they would ride horses, something which nobody could believe, a low caste riding a horse,
Yeah.
that was a sin those days.
Yeah.
A low caste tying a turban, Guru Hargobind Ji said you can not only ride a horse, you can also use a weapon. A low caste using a weapon? Nobody could believe this. But Guru Hargobind Ji said, I am here. And you know Guru Hargobind Singh Ji, Guru Hargobind Ji wore two kirpans. One kirpan was to show the worldly power, the other kirpan was to show the spiritual power. And he said, I control the worldly power, I control the spiritual power. The term in Punjabi is Sache Padshah. Padshah is a king, an emperor. Sache means the truth, who is here and who will also be there, who will not abandon you. Now, in the capacity of an emperor and a spiritual guru, Guru Hargobind Ji said, whatever be the royal order, I am telling you that you can ride a horse, you can wield a kirpan and use other weapons, and you can sport a turban. Can you imagine these people who were called Dalits and low caste were so trained that many Mughal armies came to fight against these Sikhs and all of them were defeated.
Exactly.
Just imagine the courage that these people had who were low caste and who were not permitted to even stand in front of a higher caste.
Yeah.
They had to hide. And this low caste people were not only riding horses, they were using weapons and they were able to defeat the professional army of the Mughals. So much spirit Guru built into these people who were by others called the so-called Dalits or low caste. That's not the end of it.
Yeah.
You would imagine and you would say that look, they were fighting as a group. So as a group dynamics, they could carry courage. You could say, though they were Dalits, but their general or their captain or a colonel was a high caste. So he was using them as fodder. No, the Sikhs went further. Look at the time of the ninth Guru. At the time of the ninth Guru, there is one Dalit Sikh by the name Pai Jeta. Pai Jeta is from the so-called low caste, a Dalit. Now Guru Tegh Bahadur Ji's body has been decapitated. His head has been severed from the body. Both are lying on the road. The Mughal army is watching it. And the order is, anybody touches any part of the body, severed head or body, would be treated worse than this.
Yeah.
And don't forget, just 3 days back, by Dayalaji, by Satidas, by Matidas, very mercilessly troubled and killed in front of the eyes of the Guru. The whole Sangat of Delhi is watching it.
Okay.
Pai Jeta, the Dalit, is also watching it. But just now imagine, all Sikhs are standing. The high caste so-called converts are also standing. The Kshatriyas are also standing. The traders are also standing. But Pai Jeta, who's a Dalit Sikh, he says, I cannot afford to see the severed head of my Guru lying here. He takes the courage to lift that head. A Dalit.
Okay.
So much courage.
Yeah.
So much confidence. And he runs away with that head.
Okay.
And you know where he takes it? He takes it to the place called Anandpur Sahib, where Guru Gobind Singh Ji, 9-year-old son of Guru Tegh Bahadur Ji, is staying. And he says this head should go back to Anandpur because that is the place Guru Tegh Bahadur Ji bought and established Anandpur. It is 300 kilometers away. Just look at the courage of the Dalit Sikh.
Exactly.
And he runs 300 kilometers. He takes 6 days to go. And those 6 days, the Mughal army is struggling. Where is the head gone?
Okay.
They couldn't find it. And Pai Jeta Ji is constantly progressing towards Anandpur Sahib. When he reaches Kiratpur, that is the fifth night, he has stayed at Bagpat, he has stayed at Taravdi, he has stayed at Ambala Cant, he has stayed at Nabasa. He reaches Kiratpur. Guru Gobind Singh Ji has already been informed. He comes from Anandpur, which is about 10 miles down south, and he receives the head with great respect. And then he says, Rangreta, that's the low caste,
Okay.
Rangreta, Guru ka beta, son of the Guru. The Guru is a Kshatriya,
Okay.
and now he holds Rangreta to his chest.
Okay.
Can you imagine? So far, people used to say low caste Dalits have to stay away. If they cross my way, I am polluted.
Absolutely.
Here, the Guru is giving him a hug. And not only a hug, Guru is saying, Rangreta, Guru ka beta. You are my son. Many people, many historians say Guru Gobind Singh Ji had 5 sons,
Okay.
4 biological, and Rangreta, his so-called son, because of the deeds that Bhai Jeta Ji, the Dalit Sikh, did. You know, Guru Gobind Singh Ji, there is a saying that Chidiyon se main baaj ladaun.
Okay.
I can make a sparrow fight a hawk, and the hawk will be defeated. This is exactly what happened. A single Dalit Sikh, not in a group now, which was fighting a war with the British, with the Mughal forces, not in a group. A single Dalit Sikh has now the courage to pick up the head, and he has a conviction to live up to his conviction, and he races for 6 days. He holds that head, single person, and goes and delivers it to Guru Gobind Singh. This is actually the courage of a sparrow fighting a hawk. This is the conversion that took place from times of Guru Nanak when he started preaching in 1501 to 1675, 175 years, 5 generations, the status of Dalit, the message was clear, all are equal.
Okay.
And if you are properly trained, you have the same courage and you have the same mind. History says that Guru Nanak's constant companion for 24 years when he was traveling on foot was Bhai Mardana. What was the caste of Bhai Mardana? He is not a Brahmin, he is not a Kshatriya, he is not a trader, he is amongst the so-called low caste. Wherever Guru Nanak went, he went for spiritualism. He never went for social status or caste-based thing. He used to go and stay at houses of people who were lowly in their economic status, but they were spiritually very evolved.
Yeah.
Went and stayed there.
Exactly.
You should also read who are the composers of Gurbani and who have been included in Guru Granth Sahib. In Guru Granth Sahib, there are Dalit whose Bani has been composed and put in Guru Granth Sahib. Guru Arjan Dev Ji did it. All the Sikhs, without any discrimination, have to go and bow their head to Guru Granth Sahib. In Guru Granth Sahib are the writings of many people, the so-called low caste. Some of them were cobblers,
Okay.
others were weavers, and others were nai, what we call the barber or the people who do the massage.
Okay.
Guru said spirituality belongs to everybody. It cannot, it should not discriminate between the low caste and the high caste. In a nutshell, in the long history of the Sikh religion, starting from the travels of Guru Nanak in 1501, but earlier than that, from 1469, Sikh religion believes we all come from the same God. Our souls are the same. The skin depends on the soil and weather. It will, you go in South India, the skin will be the same of anybody from different castes. You come to North India, the skin will be the same. The blood is the same. The bone structure is the same. The organs in the body are the same. Sikh religion, before even X-ray was invented or MRI machines were invented, Sikhs believed all are equal.
Equal.
There has to be no discrimination between the low caste and the high caste. It's not they only believed, they practiced it. And I've given you illustrations of
Yeah,
practice,
exactly.
but even today, 1675 is when Guru Gobind Singh said, Rangreta Guru ka beta. 1675 when Guru Gobind Singh Ji said, Chidiyon se main baaj ladaun. From a sparrow, I'll get a hawk killed.
Yeah.
Exactly today, same is happening. You go to a Gurdwara and go and sit in any langar. No discrimination.
Yeah.
Nobody will ask you who you are, what you are. You say, I want to cook food, welcome to cook food. You want to say, I want to eat food, welcome to sit in a common place and eat food with others. Who are the others? You don't know. Who you are, others don't know. You decide to go and clean the floor, nobody asks you. You decide to wash the utensils, nobody asks you. That sort of common spiritual journey Sikh religion believes in, the Gurus believed in, and since then the Sikhs have been practicing it.
Okay, perfect. So, I have two more questions
Yeah.
to be asked. So, can you tell me about Sangat and Pangat?
Yes, the Sangat and Pangat is again a great leveler. Sangat is spiritual companionship.
Okay.
We go and sit in a Gurdwara.
Yeah.
In a Gurdwara, who's sitting next to you, you do not know his caste.
Yeah.
Who is singing, you do not know the caste. Who's enjoying the spiritual bliss, you have no idea about the caste. No questions are asked. The rich and the poor have to remove their shoes, cover their head, and sit on the floor like anyone else.
Yeah.
The high caste and the low caste have to do exactly the same. If you are a high caste singing hymns,
Yeah.
you have absolutely no problem low caste people listening to it, and vice versa. If you are singing the hymns written by Kabir or Ravidas, you have no problems. These hymns have been composed by people who are not high caste. These are being sung by people who are high caste or low caste. These are being listened, and spiritual bliss is being enjoyed by people of different castes. That is the Sangat. And then comes the Pangat.
Yeah.
You go and eat together. Guru Gobind Singh Ji made a fantastic discovery. All of us have a common surname Singh. Singh means we are all brothers, and Kaur means they are sisters. Now, when they baptize, and this is very, very important, when they baptize, the baptize ceremony is done in a single bowl, and everybody has to drink from that same bowl, touching their mouth.
Yeah.
Nobody is questioned, what is your caste? Can you touch this bowl? Not only touch, you drink from that bowl. Can you imagine the equality it brings in? Actually, during Guru Gobind Singh Ji's time, there used to be many people who would come and say, Guru Gobind Singh Ji, you have started the Amrit ceremony. Can you do the Amrit ceremony only for Brahmins? We don't mind somebody drinking from the same vessel, but he has to be a Brahmin. Then somebody is saying, Guru Maharaj, can you do this ceremony for only the Kshatriyas or the royalty? And Guru Maharaj said, that's against the principles of Sikh religion. Who will come to take Amrit? Who will be baptized? Even I do not know their caste.
Yeah.
And I don't want to know their caste. Once they are baptized, they are my sons.
Yeah.
Whatever I am, they are. So once you are my sons, you drink from the same vessel. So that is the type of equality which we don't preach, we practice.
Yeah.
Many people will tell this is not hygienic, this is this, they doesn't observe social norms. But Guru said the biggest social norm is we are all one. Now it opens up lots of economic issues. If we are all one and we are not divided by the caste system, the labor force is open.
Yeah.
I can be a low caste and be a priest.
Hmm.
Nothing stops me.
Hmm.
I can be a high caste and cleaning the bathrooms. Nothing stops me.
Yeah.
The spirituality angle is the soul is common.
Yeah.
Human body is collected from the soil, from the earth, water and air in the local area. It picks up color, skin color from the local area.
Yeah.
Some DNA may be there, but the main issue is the journey of the soul, the spirit. We are all here to experience this planet Earth. We have been given some bodies. Here is an ant, that soul has been given a body of an ant. Here is a tiger, a body of a tiger. Here is a bird, a butterfly, a body. But it's the soul which is doing the journey. Sikh religion looks at the soul, respects the soul, doesn't care for the body that you wear. I could be driving a Toyota expensive car. You could be driving an Audi. But here is somebody who's driving a lowly Maruti 800.
Yeah.
Doesn't matter.
Doesn't matter.
We reach the same point of journey we undertake. And at the traffic signal, we are all standing together. So therefore, the Sikh religion believes in the soul, the journey of the soul, and not the color of the body or not the caste where you are born.
Okay. It was greatly explained, sir. So, can you explain more about the concept of Meri and Piri?
Yes,
Yeah.
that's a very important concept which the sixth Guru brought into the Sikh religion.
Yeah.
Please remember, the first 5 Gurus have suffered enough. Wherever they go, they are traveling, there are discrimination. As I mentioned to you, the Sikh Gurus taught about spirituality and equality of human race. Many opposition.
Yeah.
No water to be given to them because they believe in equality and we don't. No, there's lots of problems. They treat the women alike,
Yeah.
whereas we treat the women not alike. A woman can be baptized in Sikh religion, but other religions she may not be able to get baptized. Lots of discrimination. Here the Sikh Gurus don't do any discrimination. Now the issue is, if I am not belonging to this religion and I go to my place of worship, you can tax me.
Okay.
But the Sikh Guru said, place of worship, right to worship is the right of an individual soul.
Yeah.
You can't discriminate and you can't say that if you go to worship to that place, you have to pay a tax. But if you go to worship to that place, you belong to this religion, we will subsidize you. This is wrong. So what did the people say? We are the emperor, we are the king, we will decide in our land what you will do and what you will not do. So much so the hatred towards the concept of equality that Guru Arjan Dev Ji is told, how come in Guru Granth Sahib you have added the writings of the Sufi saints, of the Brahmin saints, of the Dalit writers, of the Sikh Gurus and some Sikhs? How can you be believing in such equality? You have to change it. And Guru Arjan Dev Ji said, I am ready to pay any cost for it. I will not change a word. It is a spiritual book. It is meant for spiritual attainment and growth. There is no discrimination. I have no second thoughts on it.
Yeah.
And you know what they did? They made him sit on fire, hot plate on a fire,
Okay.
put sand on his body, and then there were blisters, and then they threw him in the river Ravi.
Yeah.
The
Okay.
sixth Guru said, look, these temporal rules which you are making, that in my Mughal kingdom, I will do this and I will not do this. I will not allow them to ride a horse.
Yeah.
I will not allow them to hold a sword. I will not allow them to wear a turban.
Okay.
This will change. I am your temporal guru too.
Yeah.
While I am your spiritual guru, I am also your emperor here. I set the rules for you.
Yeah.
When he said that, he wore 2 kripans and he said, I am ordering you, you can ride a horse.
Okay.
So the Sikhs, Dalit Sikhs, every Sikh started riding a horse. And they started gaining confidence.
Confidence.
And then he said, you can hold a sword. Sword? I have not even used a kitchen knife. Now you want me to hold a sword? And the Guru said, I am your king. In this place you can hold the sword. Nobody will touch you. and the people started using the sword,
Okay.
right?
Yeah.
Imagine the amount of empowerment he gave to his own devotees and followers. When the Mughal forces came to fight against them, by these people who did not have the confidence to look at a Brahmin or a Kshatriya in the eye,
Hmm.
were now able to fight.
Okay.
Can you imagine this?
It's unpredictable.
Unpredictable. Now, please remember, Akbar also was an emperor.
Emperor.
Akbar's one minister was Birbal, right?
Yeah.
And he challenged, he said, "What is this going on?" And the Sikh Guru said,
Hmm.
"Well, my devotees
Hmm.
are my devotees.
Hmm.
You cannot discriminate between one devotee and the other.
Hmm.
You should not discriminate. You cannot discriminate between a woman and a male devotee because the spirit is the same, the target is the same, their objective of life is the same. So I will not discriminate.
Okay.
If one devotee can ride a horse, the other can also.
Okay.
If one devotee can use a sword, so can the other. So the Miri Piri concept given to the Sikhs by the Guru was that when the Guru says something, he is the temporal Guru and the spiritual Guru. He is the Guru of this land and he is the Guru of the
Other.
other land. And this awakening which the Gurus did were key factors that the Mughals had to pack up and leave the country.
Yeah.
So therefore I always say it is the Guru's concept of equality. It is the Guru's concept of spirituality.
Yeah.
That is what freed us from the fetters that were tightening us, controlling us, and in a way they were disabling us.
Absolutely.
And once those fetters were broken, you found Indians of all hues started saying, "We want
We
freedom,"
want to. Yeah.
and they got it.
Exactly. So, greatly explained, sir. So, this year, Sikhs are going to observe 350th Martyrdom Day of Guru Tegh Bahadur Ji. So, can you tell me more about his life, the struggle to eradicate caste in our country?
So-
About Guru Tegh Bahadur Ji.
So Guru Tegh Bahadur Ji's the beheading
Yeah.
or the sacrifice of Guru Tegh Bahadur Ji is historical. It's very, very surprising
Hmm.
in a country which is so large and the Sikhs are not many. When Guru Tegh Bahadur Ji was there, he became the Guru in 1664. Guru Nanak Dev Ji started the journey, born in 1416 but when 1501. 1501 to 1664 is 164 years. Sikhs are few in number. But just imagine now what is going to happen.
Yeah.
All across the country, Mughals are ruling and they are troubling others. The most senior most Brahmins are in Jammu and Kashmir
Yeah.
and they decide, they choose to come and tell to Guru Tegh Bahadur that you tell us what to do.
What to do.
Can you imagine the situation? There are so many people, so many generals, so many peaks,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
But these Brahmins chose to come to Guru Tegh Bahadur. The first question is, why did they come to Guru Tegh Bahadur? And all the way from Kashmir to Anandpur?
Absolutely.
They could have gone to anyone else.
Yeah.
They could have gone to the Muslim emperor.
Yeah.
There were some Hindu Rajas. They could have gone to them. They could have gone to some other Purohits. But why did they come to Guru Tegh Bahadur? That's the point.
That's it.
That's the important point. So Guru Tegh Bahadur Ji had established the fact and the house of Guru Nanak had established the fact that they do not discriminate between religions.
Religions.
Because Guru Granth Sahib is one and the only one place where you will find a Sufi saint, you will find Guru himself, you will find the Sikhs of the Guru, and you will find Dalits writings, and you will find Parmanand and Ramanand's writings or Brahmins,
Yeah.
all sitting in one place. That is why. And they were traveling. The Sikh Gurus never retired in one place and started meditating, closing their eyes. No, they were working with the masses. Wherever there is trouble, they're going and serving people. Guru Harkrishan, the eighth Guru, young Guru, visiting Delhi,
Yeah.
and there is now a disease spreading. He could have easily gone back.
Yeah.
He decided to stay here, work with them, sacrificed his life in the disease. The fifth Guru also used to travel across, and somewhere there's a drought, he will get a well dug. Somewhere there are floods, he will provide aid. All this Khalsa aid that you see has not
Yeah.
suddenly happened from the sky.
Yeah.
There is history behind it.
Yeah, exactly.
The 10th Guru is fighting a battle. There is a Pai Kanhaiya. Kanhaiya is a first aid guy.
Okay.
He is carrying water and first aid. And without discrimination, he sees the wounded, he puts aid, first aid, and gives him water. Some Sikhs went and complained to the Guru, Guru, we injure the guy, we decapitate him, we incapacitate him, and this guy goes and puts the balm and gives him water. That guy stands up and again fights.
Yeah.
Tell him not to do, at least with the enemy.
Exactly.
The Guru called him, and Kanhaiya said, Guruji, in the battlefield, I see no difference. I see everybody is a human, and he is in pain,
Yeah.
and he is thirsty. I just put pain balm on people who are in pain, and I make people drink water who are thirsty. Guruji said, you have learned the message of Sikhism,
Exactly.
right? Despite the complaints of the Sikhs. So this open-mindedness of the Gurus, without discrimination, providing support, helping others, reaching out to the masses, and taking care of their welfare,
Yeah.
everybody knew in the country.
Okay.
Epitome, Guru Nanak. No discrimination. He goes to one place, he goes to other. The message, like the sun ray, is common to everybody. Guru Arjan, compiling Guru Granth Sahib, everybody's writing is there in one single place. You go to a Gurdwara, you will hear Vaheguru, you will hear Ram, you will hear Krishna, you will hear Allah in one single 1 hour. So the Brahmins of Kashmir, knowing the background of Sikhism, knowing Guru Tegh Bahadur has fought battle with his father,
Yeah.
knew that if somebody has the courage to take a stance and fight against the tyranny of the Mughals, it will be only Guru Tegh Bahadur.
Okay.
Guru Tegh Bahadur had travelled. He was a spiritual guru, but he had travelled with the king to Assam to settle some problem there. So the Brahmins knew that Guru has the courage to talk to Aurangzeb straight and tell him you are wrong. And that's exactly what happened. The Gurus told the Brahmins, and there were 500 of them,
Okay.
not one or two.
One or
500 of them came. He listened to them. He reasoned. He thought about it. And then he said, go and tell them, why are you fighting a battle? Why do you create bloodshed? You convert one man, we will all convert. Just imagine the faith the Brahmins had in Guru Tegh Bahadur. They said, okay, Guru, we are ready to say that. Can you imagine the interfaith trust they had in each other? The Guru says, I'll give my life for you. The Brahmin says, sir, we stand by you. Look at the interfaith harmony and trust
Yeah.
between the two.
Exactly.
And that's exactly what happened now. It played out. He's traveling. He's arrested. He's put in a very dirty cage. He's tried. His devotees are killed in front of his eyes in most inhuman way.
Yeah.
But Guru is steadfast. What is the steadfastness? Spirituality cannot be dictated. I will follow my spirituality. You follow your spirituality. Do you know in Guru Granth Sahib, there are hymns which say, if you are a Brahmin, please follow your religion. If you are a Muslim, please follow your religion. Nowhere it says that only Sikhism is best.
Best.
The fifth Guru was asked this question. Fifth Guru, you are composing Guru Granth Sahib, you have had Gurus before you. What is the best religion?
Yeah.
And they were expecting he will say Sikh religion. And you know what he said? He said, Sarab dharam mein sresht dharam, har ko naam jap nirmal karam. the best of religion
Hmm.
is meditate and purify your actions.
Yeah.
This universality of the message, this universality of Guru Granth Sahib
Hmm.
convinced the Brahmins that in right earnest, if we will get justice, we'll get it justice from Guru Tegh Bahadur. That is why they came here. Now, what is the significance of 350 years?
Yeah.
The first significance is we are all one.
One.
Pai Jeta carrying the head to Guru Gobind Singh, we are all one. There is no discrimination of high caste and low caste.
Yeah.
The second is
Certainly.
we stand for each other. Interfaith harmony. There is no better example on this planet. You are welcome to go and research and look up any research, any religion, history of any country where one person has volunteered to sacrifice for someone else. No trial. He is not being tried and said this is the punishment. No.
No.
He has volunteered. I stand by the principle of equality and spiritual independence.
Yeah.
That is the significance. I think the United Nations Charter
Yeah.
should simply talk of the sacrifice of Guru Tegh Bahadur, because there is no better example of interfaith harmony that was demonstrated by this very sacrifice.
Okay, greatly explained, sir. So, in 1699, Guru Gobind Singh Ji eradicated caste in our country. All Shudras become Khalsa. Shudras become Singh. This message are still not reaching to the so-called Shudras. So, what is your plan to reach lowest among the low?
My reasoning is very simple. We Sikhs have actually been always firefighting for some reason or the other.
Yeah.
It is now that people like your father are taking this movement further. In Deep South, he is talking about it. There are people like your father in North, in other parts of the country. We all Sikhs who are practicing Sikhs, we carry the same message. Wherever we go, when we shake hands, we hug someone, we sit in a langar, we cook, or somebody is sitting and talking to us, we are not bothered, we don't even ask, the thought even doesn't come in the mind.
Yeah.
We are carrying the same message.
Same message.
I think we Sikhs have to translate it in different languages, meet people like you, carry the message in different languages of the planet, and then tell everyone that we are all universal. We are chasing spirituality. Our motto, our objective is one human race.
Yeah.
That is what we want. I think that message has to reach everywhere.
Everywhere.
With the modern media, it is beginning to reach. It will continue to reach.
Okay, sir. So, these were my essential questions that I have to ask from you, certainly. Thank you so much for your precious time to, answer our questions. And it is a great privilege and it's an honor to assign some questions and the answers. It was great, sir.
Thank you.
So much.
One thing I want to
Yeah.
add, that no one in the world
Hmm.
have fought for any fundamental right
Okay.
of any human being.
Exactly.
One fundamental right is right to religion.
Right to religion.
What Guru Nanak did, what Guru Tegh Bahadur did, and what Guru Gobind Singh had done, it is not for themselves, not for anyone, but it have been done only for humanity.
Humanity.
And humanity, that is fundamental right of a human being.
Exactly.
That is right to religion. So there is no other example in world that anyone have taken up sword, anyone have sacrificed his life for fundamental right of a human being. This is one and the only example which carried from the power of Guru Nanak and which traveled to Guru Tegh Bahadur and Guru Gobind Singh.
Guru. Yeah.
And one more thing I would like to say, that if you go to any gurdwaras, you will see that all, whether poor or rich, they clean your shoes and chappals and all that. You won't find anywhere else. So that is the spirit of this. Sikhism.
Yeah.
So I like that.
You like it.
So the earlier person who spoke is Professor Gurkirpal Singh,
Okay, sir.
Delhi University.
Okay, sir.
He is Professor Mehra,
Okay.
again Delhi University.
I think is most contribution of the Guru Tegh Bahadur Sahib ji equality.
Equality.
All human is equal, and they can live in their faith, and they can worship their believe in that religions. Nobody can compel, nobody can stop them. So we are free and we are equal.
Yeah.
This is the most powerful message
Exactly.
of Guru Tegh Bahadur Sahib.
This is Mr. Professor Harbans Singh,
Okay.
Vice Principal, Khalsa College, Delhi University.
Oh, so thank you all for doing this great work. So thank you so much.
We can create even casteless society only by becoming rulers of India.